friends, welcome back to Tarot AF. So today I have another pick a card reading for you all on what you need to hear right now. So what I want to do firstly is through oracle cards, explore your energy, where you may be at, and then what we'll do is we'll delve into some tarot and we'll get some cards, some affirmators for you, and all from spirit with advice that you need to hear right at this moment in time. So we have 3 piles ready and waiting to be picked from today. So we have pile 1 with the serpentine heart, we have pile 2 with the moss agate moon, and we have pile 3 with the clear quartz pebble. So if you've never been to a pick a card reading before, hello and welcome. You can take a moment, you can pause the video, meditate over it, see which pile you are intuitively drawn to, and what I do is I post the times in the box below and you can skip ahead there to your reading. I will see you then. Bye. Hi lovely friends of pile 1. So if you picked the serpentine heart, then this reading is going to be for you. So firstly, I just want to lay out all your oracle cards. So we have the fault line, we have communication, we have fire, we have the one who hides the sun, we have the messenger, we have baby steps, we have the garden and the gate, we have productivity, we have by the book, and we also have sage. So this is going to be your current energy space that you're in through these cards that we're going to speak through, and then later we're going to go into tarot and some advice and get the messages that you need to hear. But firstly, I've had to do this video and start this video multiple times, and I was actually a couple of minutes through on the iteration that I just did, and I just stopped talking and couldn't say anything anymore. And I was talking through that video about the throat chakra and maybe your voice feeling lost in whatever it is that you're doing, or whatever situation or relationship is taking that away from you. So I just wanted to say that on the top and bear that in mind, because my inner critic about what I was saying has never felt more on fire than when I just did that video, and that's why I had to stop. And I literally couldn't say anything else. I just stopped mid-sentence for at least a couple of seconds, and I feel like that is the kind of energy that we're exploring for you today. And it feels like with this fault line that there is a crack in the ice, in the plan, in the relationship that is surrounding you that you've been trying to fix. It's like that film, I think it's The End of the World or something like that, where, and there's even a meme of it, where there's this massive crack in the wall and someone's got a piece of sellotape trying to put it back together, and it's that kind of facade that everything's okay, I'm covering it up, I'm trying my best to put it back together in whichever means I can. And it feels like it's one-sided, that it's something that's just growing bigger and bigger, and like nothing can stop the cracks from your feeling. And it's not that you've been want for trying, it's with this productivity, I feel like you've been trying to gain new perspectives, of trying to work around the situation, see it from the other person's angle or from a different point of view, but there is something on a foundational level, whether it's something that someone has said to you maybe that has caused a crack or a friction, and that could have been from years ago, or it could be fairly recent, or there could just be a situation where the groundwork wasn't laid out as it should have been, or you feel like the path that you were treading may not have even been from your own joy for some people. And I'm going to go into all of these different kind of scenarios, but this general feeling that maybe you feel like you can't speak up, maybe you feel like your voice doesn't hold a weight or a value, or your ideas don't. So you feel like, I'm just going to be in the box and kind of keep it to myself, or whatever it is. Or maybe you just don't know how to speak your way out of this situation, whatever it is. But there is a definite want, and I think Spirit is saying very clearly that I think you want to cleanse yourself and purify yourself from this situation, distance yourself from it. And your intuition, it feels like your fire is calling you somewhere else to follow a different path and take action almost away from it. Or maybe there is a course of action that you can see that may be able to help, but you're not sure how and which way around. Maybe you feel like you can only take those baby steps, but this is, like I said, something at a foundational level which requires bigger picture things, and like big old cement to fill it in a lot of ways. So one thing that I'm seeing quite strongly and hearing is, with this by the book and the garden gate, I feel like for some people, they could feel like they are on a path that they don't want to tread. That whether that's like just a job, maybe they've followed a family trade, a family business. This is not going to be for everyone. It may not resonate with anyone, this, but I feel like there is a path, or like what you should be doing, and following in those footsteps. Or maybe you feel like you were boxed in, that you've had to go and study this particular thing, or you've been pushed into this career because someone said, oh, this is what you can do, or this is only what you can do. And it feels like you've tried to make good work of it in a lot of ways, but there is that feeling of like outside looking in, inside looking out, sorry, that you can see like the freedom of other people potentially, and how people have grown and changed and adapted, and there's kind of the greenery and the pastures greener on the other side. But even though you've got a lot of things to be thankful for maybe within this life, but you feel like you're almost being gatekept, like information is being kept from you, or you're keeping yourself from that freedom in a lot of ways, because you couldn't speak up, because you didn't feel like you could break out of that box, that by the book. You felt like that was the path that you needed to tread and walk along. But whatever it was that was said potentially, or whatever steps led you to that way, it feels like at that point it was like walking out onto a frozen lake and the crack started. It was almost like a ticking time bomb from that moment, maybe, is the feeling that you're getting, is that every step that you took, it felt like you could hear the ice cracking, that there was something telling you and calling you that no, this isn't your path, or no, this isn't what you want to do. And this could be, like I said, this could be a career thing, this could be school, this could be this could just be a relationship as well. Like, it just feels like your intuition was saying something else, but your feet were doing another thing, like walking along this path. And maybe you've been constantly looking for a messenger that maybe like break you out, maybe something that comes about that allows this freedom, that allows you to break out of this box and kind of dispel that path, so you can almost start from scratch. But for some, maybe it feels like those words or those actions that are keeping them enclosed, that is hiding that happiness or joy from that sun. Maybe that is someone, maybe it feels like there's this stifling weight of someone kind of keeping you there with that gatekeeping. But it feels like there's no way around, that there's no obstacle, and no, even if that message was coming in, you feel unconnected from it. But in the garden and the gate, the figure's actually got the chain around their throat. And so I feel like Spirit is saying that the unshackled voice, that kind of speaking up and saying what it is that you want, that outside world is the way. And maybe it's you don't feel like you can do that, you can't communicate your truth, or you feel like too many eyes are on you, or it's too late. But it's never too late. It's never too late to say no, and no full stop is a full sentence. No, you don't want to do this is that. It doesn't matter how many things that you've, done. At any point in your life, you can turn around and reinvent yourself and change and really have that baptism by fire. So for some people, I feel like if you feel like you're stuck in that routine, or that that way of life that you don't want to be on anymore, there is something on a foundational level kind of cracking and saying no, that this is only going to go so far in terms of how much you'll be able to take and tolerate. And like I said, that may not resonate, but another scenario that I'm seeing as well is maybe it's one person or a group of people that have maybe said something or done something in the past that maybe you've been trying to cover up for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of being friends or family or chosen family or whatever it is, to keep. But it feels like that fractured from that day. It broke from that day what was. And it feels like there's never been that healing, that there's never been that reconcile. And maybe it feels like that joy is continually sapped. And with this, the one who hides the sun, I'm hearing gatekeeping, maybe gatekeeping information from you. Maybe you feel like there's secrets or deceit on some side, or maybe you feel like there's some gaslighting going on, that kind of making you believe something that isn't true about yourself. And that can bleed into, which is why I was saying about the other scenario, blend into the other situation of feeling like you've got to be in that box potentially. Maybe someone's told you something, so you've been going by that book, going by that way, but maybe that's actually felt like it's enclosed you. And like I said, it's not want for trying. I feel like you have been able to see this, that maybe you've seen it from another perspective, that you're trying to gain clarity, and with that productivity that you've been trying to move through this phase, or maybe you hope that it's a phase, and really try and get to some sort of conclusion and really like work around the situation in a lot of ways. But it's like that key is not appearing, that message, that messenger, or maybe the message that you're hoping for, maybe that apology, or that, like I said, that freedom out, that liberation. Maybe it feels like that timing, it's just not happening. It's not happening for you. And maybe there's been different ways that you've tried to communicate it, but like I said, it's that foundational level of the fault line. And maybe you feel like it's your fault, but there's this need for acceptance of what's happened so far, and what's past is past. You can't change it, but you can change your attitude moving forward and the things that you want to walk away from, and how you approach and see this situation. That is something that you can change, and you can alter that behavior in the present moment that will affect that future. And it feels like your soul is on fire to walk away from this situation and follow your intuition, follow that sense, even if it doesn't make sense what is going on, and people may not understand it, and maybe you don't feel like you can fully communicate it. With that baby steps, that action card, it feels like you don't want to be passive. And it's not that you have been passive, it's that maybe you've been trying to actively wait for something, but actually now where life is forged is where there has been destruction, and it feels like you almost want to set the whole thing on fire, that you just want to start again, or maybe you feel like you are already on fire and people are just watching you and not helping with those matches. Maybe those are the moths. Maybe people are gathered around and you feel like they're looking at your destruction and gaining something from it. But what Spirit's saying is that to really get to the core, to get to that foundation, things have got to break. It's almost like that tower moment in tarot. That change is almost rocking already. And actually, once the kind of illusion or the thing that's been repressing you, once all of that falls down, and that's core rocking and changing, and it doesn't change your foundations, that's then something that you can look at. It doesn't change the core of who you are, but just you can look at what's already there, those belief systems that whether people have told you that self-worth, that you're not worthy of doing this, or you can't do this, and you can actually see who you are when you're not trapped in what you've built up, whether that's what people have built, like those things that people have built up around you, or the life that you've built. And if you feel like you're going through that fire moment, your intuition is guiding you as well. But that revelation, it doesn't help me saying it right at the moment, but that revelation of what is that kind of cracking open, that comes from being broken, from something cracking and moving away, that fault line appearing, so that then you can gain that perspective of it clearly and really get to the crux of it. And if this is a relationship, or like I said, that situation, those things that have fractured, those things that have been said and done, you can't continue on this track with them there. Those eggshells, those things that you can't feel like you can speak up for yourself about. Even if it was years ago, there's this sense that you've got to weed that out, that you've got to speak your truth and tell that person or people within this situation to really purify yourself of it, because you've come to a point now where it's like a roadblock, a dead end. You can't go on pretending anymore that it's all okay, that things are all smiles and rainbows, because it doesn't feel like it. And you know that joy and that feeling of freedom, of being able to speak your truth, is out there. It's not in this space where you currently are. And it's okay to, I'm hearing Spirit saying, it's okay to break away. Either way, it's okay to break away, or it's okay to want to mend. Whatever it is, you can mend this relationship with this person if you would like, but that's from having your boundaries and knowing how to set them once you get to that core of who you are and knowing what it is that you are worthy of. Because I'm hearing really, really strongly that on that foundational level, that you feel like you've been fed lies, or you feel like you've been fed lies, that you're so much more capable of what you've been led to believe that you may be. And the words of someone else or other people, that kind of gaslighting or that repression, those, most of the time, whether it was indirectly or directly what they wanted to do, a lot of the time those are their fears and anxieties speaking, that speak loudly, and thoughts and words, they scream at us, and those are the things that cause those cracks and those things to show and erupt. And what whispers is that intuition. And maybe you feel like that baby step, that silent whisper that's been telling you that almost it's not true, that that's the voice that you've been stifling within yourself for maybe quite a long time, or maybe it's been fairly recently, but there's that want to break free now, that actually that can't go ignored. And maybe through finding that stillness and through kind of reaching that kind of almost rock bottom in a lot of ways, but that dead end or that crack that you know is inevitable now, maybe was small but now is so large, you've had to really turn it like in towards yourself and listen to that whisper finally. And that can't be silent, because that is your internal fire, that's your internal flame, your intuition, which is always going to be with you, your higher consciousness, and that paired with spirit in the universe is not going to allow you to stay trapped in this repression and this illusion put by other people or built up around you through experiences that you've gone through, and the life that you've kind of created. I'm not saying everything needs to tumble, but this situation or relationship is the thing that really needs to be brought to light, that needs that spotlight on it. And if this is something that you want to mend, it's when you get down to the core, that foundation, where you can see what those things are that need to be communicated and worked on, and then you can accept the past for what is and move forward into actually together getting cement into those cracks and building up from there and really making a stronger foundation moving forwards. And maybe that's, like I said, within the situation or relationship, whether that be career or not. Going back to those basics and really paying attention and allowing the action to come from your intuition of that feeling. Because like I said, those words and thoughts, they scream. And actually it's all about how you are feeling in this situation and communicating that shackle free, not feeling like you're being repressed by anyone. And for some people, if you feel like you are going through these changes and you feel like other people are just watching or maybe feeding off of your destruction or something falling away from you, you know that those people, and you can probably tell within your intuition, that they are, one, stifling you, but also not helping you. And maybe in the past, maybe you're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt of, you know, in the past they helped me here, or I've helped them, you know, our relationship's strong, all of these things. But people like to forget the past. People like to, if not everyone, but the majority of the time, people are looking for the future of that relationship, what the future advantages of a relationship may hold from them, for them, sorry. And so maybe if you're waiting for this messenger, this help to come, maybe you feel like that's not coming, but even if, maybe because you feel frustrated because you've been there for other people. And like I said, people like to forget what others have done for them, or don't want to give their time and energy or resources, or trapped doing other things for themselves and have little time to help others. And that's not right, but sometimes when someone is falling or someone needs that help, people are like, okay, well, that gains way from me. And that's not for everyone. I feel like that's maybe a select few people that may be in a situation, maybe at work or something, where their destruction potentially, or their feeling of slipping, it feels like it helps other people gain momentum within theirs and helps their standing. It's kind of like their destruction lays wait for them to get a leg up, is what I'm hearing. So leave that if that doesn't resonate with everyone. But the main thing here is this want to dispel that negativity and to get that mental clarity of this situation. But above all, I feel like the voice that feels stifled, the voice that doesn't feel like it can speak that truth wants to come forward, that whisper, and really break free, and maybe even deliver your message. Maybe you're wanting to deliver that onto other people and almost state your boundaries and state clearly what they are, in order to really get out of this gate feeling that you're trapped, that you're inside looking out. Really unleash that on whether that's a new path that you want to tread, like breaking away from the by the book mentality, the methodical mentality that you've been going on, or break free from that relationship or situation that has been stifling. So I now want to go into some tarot with some oracle cards, with kind of advice from spirit, and again, messages that you need to hear even further. So I intuitively picked your tarot cards for you, and this is the Life is Like a Board Game tarot deck, which is pretty on the back is the tower, and obviously we were just as I was cutting it, but obviously we were just talking about that change rocking and everything. So, and it is a major, like that is a major event. It's not something to be skipped over at all, and it can feel earth-shattering, like literally everything is being torn away for you. So my heart does go out. So let's see what needs to be heard. So we've got the Lovers, we've got the New Not Interested Place, Four of Cups, we have got the Four of Pentacles, we have got the Six of Wands, and we have got Nostalgia Place, the Six of Cups, and on the back we've got Conflict Gardens, the Five of Wands. So I'm just going to put that over there, and then we'll just get some of these Soul's Journey cards as well. So we have got Purpose. I know what I am here to do. We have got Acceptance. I am learning to accept the things I cannot change. We have got Trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. And we've got Doubt. I release the need to know all the answers. Okay. So what I really feel like Spirit is calling for, and what you really need to hear at the moment, is that it's time to really trust yourself, trust that inner voice, and that it is guiding you to the right thing, and it is guiding you to that purpose. And the things happening around you, all that conflict, all that the opposing wills and desires of other people, that all those people that want to state their opinion, that feed that doubt, or feel like they're holding back things or information, and all the answers maybe that you're hoping to be unlocked. Maybe there's that deceit or secrecy, like I said, potentially, that are causing that feeling of loss and that woe is me, which is building up this picture in your mind, which is causing that mental unrest, but also that feeling of confusion. That is all that white noise. And it's the noise and the humdrum of things which are actually which is actually stirring up, no matter how many memories that you have with these people, no matter who they are projecting that kind of doubt onto you. But also it's being reflected to you because of this internal struggle that's going on. Because it's like almost, you know, that fault line is there. So you are looking out for the messages and what people are saying or doing that feeds into that story. Like, if your boundaries aren't up and if you're accepting the energy, it feels like you are aligning to that chaos feeling within, that all of that's being projected back to you because you are believing it internally in a way. And maybe spirit is saying that yes, you may hold fond memories of the people who may be doing these things or saying these things, but and you can't change what's been said or done, but holding on to those situations or holding on to the plan or the ideas and holding on so tightly that it's creating a prison within your mind, your body and your spirit is only stifling your internal voice further. So it feels like all of these things that are feeding into you at the moment, all of that doubt, all that fear, all that anxiety, through other people or through your own mental kind of alarms going off, it's constantly getting on top of you so that you can't see the new opportunities that may be arriving, that messenger, that hope, that thing. But despite all of that, that whispering is still there. Your internal purpose, your inner voice, that thing that you need to trust is still calling to you, and it's never going to leave you, no matter what it is that is going on at the moment. And that conflict and all of those things are really, really hard to stomach, are really hard to see and detach yourself from. But those new opportunities in that kind of not interested place, emotionally, once you know that you are worthy of them, and I hope you do know how worthy of them that you are, and you look at them on that foundational level, that kind of self-worth, once you release all of that need to know the answers or whatever it is, and you just know what you are here to do, you know what you are worthy of, that's when those new emotional opportunities feel like they can come through to you, and that hope is there, and that emotional abundance which you are so worthy of can push through and really get you to that place of victory through this Six of Wands. Celebrate your small wins as well at this time, especially when you feel like a lot is going on. And maybe, like I was saying, if you feel stifled or if you feel gaslit by other people potentially, those moments of glory, those moments where you feel like you can celebrate and have a victory, they feel few and far between in a lot of ways. But make sure you take that time to realize how far you've come and all that you've been doing. And actually, by releasing people from your life, or releasing patterns of behavior or thoughts or plans and ideas that aren't serving anymore, those old ways, allows for that new to come in. And I feel like I'm hearing specifically with that nostalgia place, that Six of Cups, memories from the past, memories of what was, and whether that was the beginning of that fracture of that relationship potentially, or that of that situation, or feeling like you've been boxed in. You can't change that now. Those can't be changed. And it's not saying that you weren't fulfilled or that you don't have fulfilling memories of where you've been or the relationship, but at the moment, at this present moment in time, there's this stagnancy, or there's this feeling of this conflict or this kind of blow up, and that can't go unignored. And looking at the past, like I was kind of saying, with people are quick to forget the past. And maybe those memories bring comfort of a time that was easier and a time where the relationship or the situation where things felt joyful. But at the moment, if you're living in that past space, or kind of living in that loss and feeling like you're in that kind of illusion of, it's okay, this is a phase, it's been okay before, is actually distracting you potentially from this present moment where the changes that can occur, the changes to pull you away from that, can happen. And there is a need to accept the journey that you've been on and the whole spectrum of that journey, and know that you can't change that path, but you can learn from it. You can trust that through learning for it, through protecting yourself on this next stage, you are aligning to that purpose in a lot of ways. And with that Lovers card, it's really about finding that joy, finding that partnership and that joy with the people, and tying yourself to that feeling of freedom and equilibrium and harmony by unlocking your wholeness in a lot of ways. And one way of doing that is through that painful tower moment where there is that breakdown, where you can look at on that, and you get this from the Hermit as well, from turning internally and looking at everything that you are, listening to that whisper of what your purpose, what you are here to do, and trusting its message, despite all the noise, despite all the words, all the things happening around you, and knowing that those small victories, the things that really fuel you, those passions and those desires that really make you want to celebrate, those are the things that you should be moving after, that joy. And maybe that is within the career, and like maybe I said, maybe at the moment it's the emotional state or the mental state that you're in that is kind of distracting you from all those new emotional experiences that are coming in. Or maybe it's that feeling of holding on so tightly to what was, and saying that's fine, that's what it is, this is where we are, but it's distracting you from this present moment by holding on so tightly to that past. And with the Lovers as well, there's this feeling of standing boldly within yourself, knowing that you are different than other people, and by standing boldly apart from others, you connect and you find togetherness with the people that fuel you. And so maybe for some people who feel like that, relationships maybe feeling like they're cracked, or emotional situations in that way. And we were saying about mending or moving away from and kind of releasing. When you stand tallly and you have those boundaries of what you will and won't accept, that kind of boundaries against energy, you have that clear voice of, you can kind of be in my life and you can celebrate with me, we can have differences, we can, have conflicts, we can have that kind of sham of every relationship, those things that make us different, but those differences make us stronger because we recognize them, we recognize each other for our own wholeness, that I am who I am without any of that doubt, and actually your words can't affect that. I've got the answers within me, I trust my internal voice, and so do you. Your voice is your own, your path is your own. We can still be together despite those differences, but allowing someone to try and, on a foundational level, tell you that something is not right with you, or like one of your beliefs, or something that your internal voice is telling you that is your purpose, that's what you're here to do. That's when you need to put your boundaries up and your guard up, and make sure that you are protecting yourself first and foremost away from that energy, and protect who it is that you are. And people can do it, like I said, from that fear and anxiety, from trying to make you safe, all of those things. But people sometimes don't realize that they are projecting those things onto you, that is actually how much of a eruption maybe they are causing. And there's really that with that sage, which keeps popping up into my mind, there really needs to be that cleansing of your personal space. Maybe that's of the people within your circle, those people that don't listen to you, don't listen to your authentic self, and who are maybe pushing you down a path that you don't want to go on, or whatever it is. I feel like this reading has been much more vague and general than I hoped it would be, but I feel like it's had to be, because I think some people are in different spaces and different energies. But in order to really cleanse yourself and clear yourself of that rigidness of the past, there needs to be that acceptance, but also that build up and that trust in who you are on that foundation, and knowing that you can be with people who are different than you. You can have those opinions in your life, but you put it through a filter of what you will and won't accept. You won't accept those things on a foundational level that you know to be right. And don't be afraid to release situations or people from the past that no longer serve you now, because that holding on tightly, if you're holding on to those things, you don't make room for those new opportunities that are coming through to you. And actually, you deserve to feel that glory, to feel like you have a team around you, to have those people celebrating you and having that victory. There is that feeling of repression and that feeling of gaslighting, or being told that you're not worthy enough, that doubt, that doesn't hold a place for you. And you need to know that, and have trust in yourself and those whispers that are telling you that you are good enough. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in your life with that Six of Cups who bring you those happy memories, that bring you those joy, that you have deep roots with, who may not be your oldest friends, but maybe be new friends, but you have that nourishing, beneficial energy that comes to you. And don't allow those relationships to don't feel like you have to close off from all of those things just because there are few, because maybe there's one that hides the sun. You can identify, and you know through that filter, who is there for you, who will always be there, no matter what the past, no matter if you can offer them something beneficially. I know I said that thing about the fire before, about some people are quick to forget the past, but there's some people who aren't. There's some people who are not moths to the flame, but who actually want to celebrate in your flame and dance with you too. So not everyone is an evil baddie in this world. There are those people, family, chosen family, friends, who will stand by you, who will be there for you, and who always want to celebrate with you. But those people, those situations that don't fill you with that don't connect with you, that don't partner with you through those tough times, it's almost like taking marriage vows with people, of, you know, I accept you through anything, any path, anything that you want to do, because I accept you. And those people that tie to your purpose and tie to the person that you are becoming, not the person that you are or were, are the people that you know intuitively that you can trust, who are always going to be there throughout any conflict or any sham, as it were. You know on that energy level that they are there. So I want to get some more affirmators for you guys, for more messages from Spirit. So Spirit, what other messages do you have for pile one? What else do you have to say to pile one? Okay, I'll get one more as well. But my throat is still feeling pretty pretty blocked at the moment. So I feel like they're maybe throat chakra cleansing maybe is something, but also that feeling that you can talk to those people in that, that you know that you can trust on that level about their situation, and or even to with that messenger holding that book and that pen, even journaling about it and getting your thoughts out of your head, and almost with that by the book, maybe it's even like setting out that step-by-step plan of how you're going to do it, and having that almost loose map of kind of your plan out in a way, like planning it all out. So when you have to come up with the words, you've almost got that guided kind of step-by-step of how you're going to say it or what you want to say, those kind of notes. I know whenever I'm doing anything difficult or I've got to have a conversation, I'll lay out really quickly my kind of just in like rough sentences of where I want to go or what I want to say. So I've got it, it's not forced, it's not that I've had to rehearse the whole thing and how I'm going to say it, but I know roughly the scale of where I want the conversation to go, but remembering it is a conversation and that it is a back and forth, so you can jump around those points and it may not happen in the step-by-step way that you've put it in, but it gives you that guideline and making sure that you tick off everything that it is that you want to say or you know that you need to say and do. That may be one way to also help. But we've got joy. To enjoy something, I simply need to add joy to it. Joy is like butter. I can put it on anything and it'll make it way better. Today I will add joy to everything. Really slather it on. Today I am Orville Reidenbacher of joy, and life's popcorn is about to get it. So there's always situations, there's always things that we're doing in our lives, and having that lens, having that perspective of, I was kind of saying about that woe is me potentially feeling in that Four of Cups, that not interested place, like looking at the loss of situations or things that may be preventing that joy sticking through. But you can try as much as you can to listen to that whisper, but also find the joy, to choose love, because when love is present in a situation, fear and anxiety don't have a place. It almost shuts it up in its way. So if you can lather on that joy, even in the small moments, if you can find small bits or to sprinkle it on, or those relationships, really try and lean into those ones that bring you so much joy. That's when, no matter what situation it is, you can always try and find that hope in it. And it's something that sometimes when it feels dark, when you feel like there are massive things that you're up against, which you've got to try hard to do, but that sense of joy, that feeling, that kind of taking that time to do that helps. It's like training your brain with anything. It takes time, especially if you're in that funk, but it becomes easier once you start doing it. Inspiration. There is a voice of inspiration within me. Right now it's only a whisper, but the more I listen, the louder it will get. Soon it will be a flawless speech voiced by James Earl Jones through a megaphone with lots of applause. So I love this, that this has come up, this inspiration card. And again, my voice is going again, but I feel like that internal voice, your inner voice that is there to guide you, which may only feel like it's whispering to you right now. Other people may not understand it, but the more you take the time to listen to it, the more you trust it, the more you value what it is that it has to say, the more those little points, those things you want to communicate will flow, will become that speech and are ready, and people want to hear those moments of glory, that victory that is coming from that purpose, from that kind of unapologetic trust that you have in yourself and your ideas and your creativity and inspiration. So be inspired from within and don't be afraid to cultivate that. at any time in your life, if it is telling you and pointing you down a different road. I am so proud, for instance, of my mum, and she has been a constant person in my life that has told me that no matter what it is at any time in your life, and also my grandma, who told my mum this, so it's just something that we passed down. But my grandma learned how to swim when she was 40 years old, and my mum started university in her 40s. Well, maybe she was just turning into her 50s, but I think it was 40s. And you can be and do anything you want right now by asking for it and going for it. You can listen to that voice inside of you, whether it be swimming or whether it be a complete career change like my mum did, and you can listen to that voice and follow it if that is where it's guiding you to do. Trust and have faith in yourself. And people may not understand it, people may not understand why you want to change, but those people who do will make themselves known. And also there are so many people around who will as well, who want to see that future you that you want to speak about and shout loudly about. We've also got wonder. It's a wonderful thing to be in a state of wonder. And when I'm a good audience to my life becomes better and better theatre. When something delightful happens, I can shout encore and be tickled when it happens again. When something maddening happens, I can laugh it off. Either way, I'm glad I got the ticket to the show. Okay, I've got 5. I didn't realise I had 5. I thought I had 4. Well, I thought I had 3 and then I've got 5. Anyway, I'll get to the cards in a minute. But this sense of wonder and this having an audience in your life, you know, it's that popcorn joy moment. Like, what's going to happen next? What am I going to see? What's going to be coming into my 3D reality in a lot of ways? And celebrating those wins, because those wins, that joy, when you lean into those and you celebrate it with those people that count as well, that's when it can happen over and over again. And it's almost like you're expecting the joy, you're expecting the wonder of good to happen. And if something doesn't happen in the way that you expect or you can plan, that's a twist and turn. That's a blockbuster hit, because it's something great that you can that can bring you a change around, a change of direction, which opens to new inspiration and creativity. It's something that will help inform you next time, which you can then laugh off or be like, actually, I know how to tackle this now. And we've got confidence. In this moment, I take a step back and look at myself with the pride of a good mother. I see an abundance of abilities and talents that show up all the time in big and little ways. If I could stick myself on a refrigerator, I would. I would invite all the neighbours over and say, look at that. Can you believe what an A+ that is? I love that one. Confidence. Confidence in yourself and in your abilities, and taking pride in your foundations of who you are. Not even just that voice inside of you, but every single thing that you have done up until this moment that has brought you to where you are. Be so happy with the abundance that you have brought around into your life, all the abilities and talents that you have, and know that you can utilize them in any way if you so choose to. And invite people in, those people, even if you've not connected for a long time, those people that, you know, really bring those happy memories, who bring that energy of warmth and comfort through that time of conflict, and show them who you are, show them the things that you make, and share those moments of glory. I feel like Spirit is saying the more joy, the more that you welcome in, the more love you bring in, and happiness, that celebration, is going to make you feel more that you can do anything, that you're on top of the world. We've also got gentleness. I speak with gentleness and I listen with gentleness. I align with the gentlest part of my life, and I take joy in being receptive, open and unafraid. I am like a baby deer who's best friends with a baby elephant. The baby elephant wraps its little trunk around my shoulders, and we lie down gently on the grass, daydreaming and talking about what sorts of humans the clouds look like. So I think this is kind of this curiosity, wonder, but that gentle voice, and speaking to yourself as a friend and as a loved one, and listening to that advice and that inner voice within you already, coaxing that out and allowing itself to breathe, that almost small voice that you want to hear more, that kind of inner child that may feel wounded or upset over the situations or the relationships that feel like they're cracking, and allow it to breathe and have its time to grieve, and really give yourself that hug. Be unafraid of taking that, like being open and receptive to new things, and unafraid of what that voice has got to tell you in a lot of ways, that vulnerability within you, because that vulnerability is strength, that vulnerability of what is going to fuel joy, or that vulnerability for the future of what you want. By allowing that to speak its fullest, being receptive and open to it, you speak loudly, but also you have so much to show for it, and you find so much joy, you see the wonder in life, and you have that confidence to take what it is that you want by the horns. So my glorious friends of pile 1, I'm going to leave this reading here for you guys today. Thank you so much if you're still with me, for listening right now, and I hope all the advice from Spirit helped you. I really do. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. If you'd like to see me again, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you there. I am sending so much peace, love and light to every single one of you. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, bye. Hi lovely friends of pile 2. So if you picked the Moss Agate Moon, then this reading is going to be for you. So I've shuffled your oracle cards for the energy currently that you may be in and confronting. So we have got the underworld, we have got move on, we have got movement, we have got broken and hatched, we have got labyrinth, we have got earthed, 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. We have got memory. We have got a change in the wind. And we have got trepidation. So I feel like this energy is kind of, there's nothing to skip. Like, we don't want to skip over the pain and the suffering and the past, the memories that may still be permeating at the moment, that shadow, and that fear and that darkness, like I said, of this underworld, the kind of nightmares and the pain and the labyrinth within your mind, but also your kind of spirit and body that you feel like you are coming out of. And I really feel like this is something that you are coming out of, or you feel like you can see that kind of light, which maybe you didn't once see, that was quite unclear in a lot of ways. But the depths that you have gone to, the emotions that it has brought up this space, and the bravery and the inner strength that you have fostered and continued to grow has helped you with this momentum and this want to move forward. And I feel like all the memories, and firstly, one of the symbols on this, and I think I'm rewatching Charmed at the moment, and there's almost this book of shadows, this kind of witch's almanac on this card, on this rosemary card, and it's memory. And I feel like the memories of this situation, this which has been fraught with pain, this period, potentially, maybe it's not even just one event, maybe it's a couple of things that have threw you into this kind of underworld state, whether that be kind of disturbing dreams, or feeling like you're living in a kind of living nightmare, whether it be conflicts or things that you've had to bury and release, whether that be friendships or situations. With that underworld, I get death and that need for release in whatever it was, like those situations which you had to put to bed, that you had to move on from, those memories or those things that you've had to make a memory, I'm hearing. But with that book of shadows on there, I feel like it's, as we learn and we learn from our experiences, we grow this kind of guide, this almanac, which we carry with us through our experiences, of like almost a how-to guide, but how to vanquish the evil again and the darkness again. And it feels like with this momentum of moving on that you've been finding, or that you want to find, if you don't feel like you're there with that change in the wind, the things that you have confronted, those monsters as it were, in your external world, you are now able to, or you are starting to be able to know how to vanquish them, and almost what was unclear now you can kind of name, and you can kind of say it for what it is. Understanding old patterns of behavior, or people in your external world maybe who didn't have your best interest, or whatever it was, those things that you've released and put into the earth, you've also got those experiences behind you, so that if you ever are confronted with them again, that energy again, you know how to deal with them, and like I said, vanquish those things. And the labyrinth, the mystery that it caused in your mind, which maybe kept you in this state for a while, that labyrinth, you can almost, you know that if this was to ever happen again or come your way again, you would able to speak your truth and speak the things that you want into existence, and not allow these, like, the memories are here to make you stronger and bolder and move you even further along, because you've moved on from this situation, because it doesn't hold as much weight in your mind. And maybe you're still pushing through those shadows, and that feels like the hope at the end of the tunnel. But with this broken and hatched, what has made you broken then hatches something within you, hatches that release, and allows you to release those old situations, but release those feelings as well. And of course, there's those things that may come in the future that may remind you of that space, but it's harder to put something back together when it's been broken. And that's not saying you being broken, but as in the feeling of being repressed or enclosed. Those situations that come up again are not going to affect us in the same way if we learn from them. And I feel like this has been a moment for you to learn, and like I said, grow stronger, foster that within you. And you're ready for the change in the winds, I think, in a lot of ways. But your spirit is not broken, and this is the thing. You are still there, you are still showing up for yourself, and you are learning from those experiences with this earth, learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. Like, your spirit is not broken, and you know that the obstacles and detours are fickle. Those are the earthly things that build up and move around us. But your truth and who you are with this fifth chakra archangel, and that change of the wind, your sense of spirit and where you are going, your light, is something that the darkness can't latch onto. And actually, you are being supported to move on from this situation and take everything in your stride, and know that these detours, of course, we don't want to skip over the darkness and the pain that they kept us in, and that grief, and it's something that we carry with us, but it's a scar on our body. It's like going through a battlefield. You learn from each battle, and it makes you stronger. And that's where I feel like that movement is taking you almost through, like, that winds of change moment, that it's carrying you somewhere else, carrying you away from that. But and there's that hope for where that is going, and you're ready to embrace that change no matter what it is, better prepared for the future because of what you've gone through. And I don't feel like it's one person or one situation or one thing that almost had you feeling in this underworld, but I feel like it's more a kind of a pattern of behavior, or something that you were able to call out within yourself, that, or if it was a situation or a couple of situations, it feels like it was something that really was on top of you for a long time with that labyrinth, something that was permeating your dreams, maybe even giving you nightmares, maybe giving you that living nightmare like I was talking about. Or maybe it was even memories that you thought you had buried, but almost unearthed themselves in some ways, maybe came into your physical reality because actually they weren't healed, those cracks, those things. And maybe they kind of broke free and came back to you in your reality because you maybe hadn't taken those lessons, or maybe those patterns of behavior or those patterns of things kept creeping up and kept coming because almost you hadn't called it out for what it was, or you hadn't learned and understood it, or maybe you thought you had, but you hadn't got to the full realization of what it was. And that obviously, that trepidation, that almost walking on eggshells of when is this going to happen again, or that feeling that there's like the boogeyman in the corner sort of thing, the thing behind the door of when is it going to disrupt my happiness, or when you do find that joy and you do find that hope and that want to move on, it's like that constant cycle of like acceptance and living in that joy, and then waiting for that thing round the corner to come. And it could be anything. It could be within a relationship, for instance. So if there's things that you haven't healed from previous relationships, you may be projecting fears and anxieties of those onto your new partner, or onto your new friendship, or onto a situation at work, whatever it is. It's those patterns which we feel like we have moved on from and we want to move away from, maybe quickly, that then become the living labyrinth that we live in. And so Spirit is saying, maybe you feel like you're still in that cycle for some people, and maybe it's coming back again. Like I said, maybe those fears and anxieties are being represented in your kind of earthly, like in your earthly circumstances, in your physical world at the moment, and are maybe drudging up even more memories from the past, which make it feel like a bigger monster to vanquish in a lot of ways. And maybe for some people, there's that seeing that, recognizing what it is, if that pattern has come up again, and wanting that change, wanting to change what it is, and really, like I said with the underworld, put it to bed, realize that we can't deny its existence. We can't deny that it's there, because that's when it gives it even more power. When you give the shadows the power by not shedding the light on it. But taking solace that everyone goes through this, and that darkness, we can choose light, and that's the main calling of it, is that we can choose hope. We can choose hope to see the situation in a new way, to know that it is an obstacle, isn't a barrier, that we learn from, that we take that experience in our stride, and we move away from it in a lot of ways. Being able to speak with that fifth chakra, speak our truth and speak up for ourselves and deliver ourselves a new message, no matter what it is that we have gone through. And my darling friend, if this is something that you feel like you are going from, don't run away from those memories. Don't run away from those emotions that may be coming up. Listen to them, because they've come from somewhere. They've come from those recesses, from that darkness, from that unconscious place. And there is something to learn here. And if you feel like you are doing that, and maybe you've been keeping a shadow journal, or you've been doing some work, confronting those things, confronting fears and anxieties, then Spirit is saying, take it slowly, take it as you can, and remember what you're doing it for, and keep that. You don't need to move so quickly that you lose that hope in the tunnel, and you just feel like you're getting dragged even more into that. But that work is so important that you are doing, and it is going to help bring around that change in the wind. And the winds of change are always moving forward through. It's like that the Wheel of Fortune card. The wheel is constantly turning, change is always happening, and it's our reaction to it. And it feels like, it may feel like things are up in the air, that it's almost out of your hands in a lot of way. With this move on card, it feels like that you may even feel like you're on this wheel and you could fall off at any time, or someone else is pulling the strings. Like maybe in the underworld, you're literally like, there's crones holding like the string of life, as in like in Hercules and stuff like that, the crones. But I prescribe more from fate to destiny, and that you, with your current behavior in the present moment, can affect your future circumstances. With destiny, you are not predestined. You come up to forks in the road, you come up to those monsters, those things that you vanquish, and you overcome those obstacles, those diversions, and you can pick your way forward. You can pick to, you know, maybe skirt around it and maybe it will creep up later, or you can play it and you can tackle it there and then, and you come to those forks in the road. But that labyrinth over here, Spirit is saying, don't bury the emotions or the thoughts. Like I said, when we do that, you make them bigger, and speaking to people is the easiest way to help alleviate your mind and help you move on, by talking it about with people who want to listen to you and want to help you along, those loved ones in your life, your family, your chosen family, your friends. When you release those thoughts, when you say those things that have been troubling you, they become less in your mind, they become less of a mountain, because you're sharing that load with someone else. There is a team around you, and they can help shed a new perspective. They can help push through those fears. They have their own arsenal, their own book of shadows of things they may have confronted that can help you along the way, help share their wisdom with you. And know that as well, and Spirit's saying that we wouldn't have given you this obstacle if you couldn't overcome it. And you absolutely can. This is a lesson that you are learning from, and you have already learned from, just by going through it. And you are hatched. This is opening a way for a new beginning. This is releasing old patterns, like I said, or old people or old things that no longer serve your purpose, so that you can eventually move on and play that Wheel of Fortune, step into the change, and know that paradoxically you need that darkness, the underworld, that unconscious. You need that fear in order to have that hope, to have love, to have all of those things. It's yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. But there is that, by, like I said, calling it out, by knowing that everybody goes through those things, and you can talk to people and create less of a weight on your mind. The memories feel like they diminish, and you can see that hope, that thing to move forward towards, and really push through those shadows. So I want to get some tarot cards for you guys, and we'll also get some Soul's Journey cards too from Spirit for what else you need to hear. So I'm just intuitively picking your tarot deck. So I'll shuffle this on camera for you. But just know that you're not alone, even if you feel like this is a quest that is yours to bear. And by quest, it's a challenge or an obstacle that creates a before the event and after the event, where you can learn and you can understand and you change because of it. And like any hero, like I'm thinking Greek myths because of that underworld card. Any hero traveling to the underworld comes back changed because of it, and can fight things that they couldn't before. So Spirit, what else does my friend of pile 2 need to hear? What do they need to hear right now? So we have got the Fool. We have got the 4 of Wands. What do they need to hear right now, Spirit? We have got the Magician. Okay, and we have got the Lovers and also the 2 of Wands as well. And on the back of the deck, we have the 3 of Pentacles. So I'll put you down there. And then we'll also get some Soul's Journey cards as well. So we have Forgiveness. We have Success. Ooh. We have Courage. Ooh. Okay, well, there's about 5 there, so I'm just going to get one more, please, Spirit. Just one, because otherwise they can't fit on the table. And we have Honesty as well. So Forgiveness, I acknowledge that harbouring resentment blocks the flow of love. Success, I know that there is no greater goal than to love. Courage, I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And Honesty, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So, like we were saying with this energy, the change in the winds, the wanting to move on, Spirit is saying that, I mean, this is just the cutest deck in the world as well, with this Affirmators cards. I'm looking at these otters holding hands, and with that Lovers and also the 3 of Pentacles, I think this is something that you may need a team behind you. You may need a team of people who are all in your corner, who are all fighting your corner to help move past the mountains in a lot of way. This may be something individually you feel like, this is something for me that I am going to, I've got to have the courage, I've got to muster these things, I've got to forgive myself. This is self-examination, but you may not be able to share the burden of everything, of what you are going through, but you can still find that connection with your wholeness, and also the wholeness in others, that other people may be able to support and give you that advice and those things, and be honest with you. And like the card says, you can't always expect the truth from others, but you can accept it from yourself. And asking for help or asking for advice, it always comes with the caveat of putting it through your filter of what you will and won't accept. Some people's advice may not resonate with you. And it's like any tarot reader will tell you, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Some scenarios or situations won't be applicable completely to you. But there will be some nuggets of information that people give you, or some experiences that they hold, which may help unlock, or may help, their monster may look a little bit similar to yours, or their past monster may look a little bit similar to yours. So you'll be able to see what that is. So with that 3 of Pentacles card, maybe there are those people that can help support, that almost create a foundation for you, a strong foundation. But the main thing Spirit is saying, that those hard times are temporary, and you are the best thing that you can be right now. And it may not feel like that for some people going through this darkness and this fear, and maybe that's what they feel like they are wrapped up in. But with this Fool card over here, it feels like there is a new phase, a new beginning dawning for you of your own making with this Magician card. With the Magician, your courage, your willpower, and your determination paired with your action to want to move away from those things, to want to bring about new conditions, new environments, new circumstances, is going to bring you into this new phase, this new beginning, that your path may not be for everyone, but you will find the right people, and the right people to celebrate life with you and to find those moments of joy with. And they may be your family, your chosen family. Those team members will come around you. If you've had to release old relationships or old situations, and the main thing is everyone comes to you, every situation, every person comes to you as a lesson. Sometimes they're not the beautiful of lessons, but maybe that it's like, you know, double science or something. Maybe if you enjoyed science, that's fine. But maybe it's like a double science lesson that you have to go to, you have to sit through for whatever reason, whether it be in your workplace or whether it be circumstantial or whatever. But you can forgive what has happened, what you have to do, but know that, and if you keep harboring those things, or if you keep burying those things without confronting them, it blocks love, it blocks the new things coming towards you. It's something sometimes we have to, or sometimes it feels like it's something that we have to bite the bullet with and go through those obstacles, those blocks. But when we do, and we come out the other side, or we release them when we're allowed to release them, like double science, everyone has to do it at school, but there comes a time when you don't have to do it anymore, and you can put that to bed. What was, it doesn't dictate your life in the same way. And I'm not saying at the moment that this situation is exactly like going to double science, I'm sure it's not, but it's this feeling of there will come a time where it will become one of those things which you are able to release and you are able to move away from, and your courage, your inner strength, and facing that fear with the confidence, maybe with that's with a team around you or with team's knowledge around you, that brings about the success, that greater goal to love. And that love is for yourself, to create the reality that you wish for yourself and that you know that you are deserving of. So whatever shadow that is, whatever double science lesson is going on at the moment, or series of things that are going on from, this is definitely a call to say that from spirit, that these are temporary things, that it may not feel like it at the moment, but that labyrinth which may have been created around you from other people's fears and anxieties, or from your own, those mental things that keep going around you, maybe it's not having the truth from other people, potentially, that feeling of not being able to gain that light, gain that clarity, they are temporary. And there is that feeling again of the wild card and the Fool, of that new beginning, of trusting and having faith that moving away from this situation is the right thing to do. And also you are gathering your strength, even if there is not this real forward momentum and movement. Maybe there is this stillness at the moment, but you are visualizing the life and seeing where you are going. Those mountains, there's mountains all over the globe. There's mountains that come up. There's always going to be fears. Obstacles, those monsters that need to be tackled. But soon and eventually you may be high enough up one of them, or in a space where you can see something else, where you can visualize where you want to go, and this is the time, and Spirit is saying, to make those to-do lists, to take that inspired energy that you feel maybe after hitting that rock bottom, of seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, and really visualizing what that's going to look like, who is going to help you even further, what's going to make you shine brightly, and really gathering that team up around you. And I can't say it more than enough, but when you feel like you're on your own, you may have this great sense of self-love and this feeling of what you are worthy of. And of course, you've got your own path, you've got your own purpose, everyone does. But when you feel completely isolated and alone in that darkness, and your light is the only thing carrying you through, it's hard to see exactly the path that you're treading in front of you. But if you've got other light beings around you, other people that make you feel that joy, that make you feel that connectivity, who are your otter people in a lot of ways, that flame that you have paired with theirs brings much more clarity, brings much more support, brings so much more success and light. And you can be honest with yourself about the past, honest with yourself about the things that you have gone through. Take accountability for the things that you have done, the part you may have played, and in the thing that the pattern of behavior or whatever it is. Call out that fear, call out that anxiety, and see what it's done in your life, so that then you can properly release it. And know that that experience, that baggage that you carry with you, people say, oh yeah, I come with so much baggage and that kind of thing. We may do, but it doesn't rule us. Our experiences, everything that we've learned, that doesn't rule us on our movement forward. We carry those with us like a healed scar on our body, that battle wound, like we said, and we rise up from it and we become stronger because of it. And it makes us much more courageous and braver to confront those things in our lives. And with that Magician card as well, Spirit is saying there are major things, major manifestations potentially now, that hope for the future that creatively you are visualizing, where your intuition is calling you to, of things that you want to bring around into the world. And maybe now you feel like you've got that sense of courage and determination in order to do them now, maybe because you feel like there's those people behind you, or if you do, like if you feel like you're gathering that team, that's going to make you feel even more powerful, but also a lightning rod for the divine in a lot of ways. And you can wield and change and really lean into that that change in the wind that we were talking about. And with anything, it's that being honest with ourselves, being honest with what it is that we truly want, and making sure that we're connecting to our truest heart, even if that is different to other people, that attracts like-minded people to us, because we are being authentically true to ourselves, but also B, attracts spirit to us, because if we are speaking our truth, like that fifth chakra archangel, if we are speaking our truth and saying and speaking speaking our words and speaking our reality into existence, by knowing that we can do that, we can be and do anything we want at any time, that's when things really start to change and lean in, and we see the success that we want. So Spirit is giving you encouraging messages, and saying you don't need to do this alone, this darkness, but also all the work that you are doing to release the past, to learn from it and be honest with yourself and accept it, and to really forgive yourself and other people for everything, and knowing that you have learned from it, that you're not going to go back to the depths that you have before, because it's in your almanac now, it's in that book of shadows, and you are prepared to fight those things again through choosing love, through choosing the love and the hope in each situation that comes about. And you can't change what's been said or what's been done, but you can change your perspective on it in the future. And now you can find that you can expect truth and honesty from yourself always, because you know when something doesn't sit right. You know when something within you is calling you for a change, or you want to walk away from something. You know it because it keeps coming up again and again, like that pattern of behavior, that old habit. Spirit doesn't want you to keep yourself locked in that in any way, shape or form. Let it be a memory. Let it be that an experience that you have learnt from and moved on from, and know that what you've broken away from hatches something new, hatches this new journey, this expansion, and it creates room for it when you release it. It allows you to manifest with that Magician card, to magic up new things in your life, new people, new situations in a lot of ways. So I want to get some Affirmator cards for you. So Spirit, what else does pile 2 need to know? Okay. Oh, we got 3. Well, there we go. I'm also going to take Manifestation, because that's on the bottom of the deck, and I feel like that is very relevant to you guys with that Magician card. Manifestation. If you could have anything you wanted, what would it be? Get specific and get greedy. You are holding a magic wand and you can conjure up anything. Could it be that when you declare your wishes out loud, you're actually casting a spell for your dreams to come true? Or is it just that, in a very practical sense, the more people you speak with about your desires, the more folks there are who know what you want and might have the means to help you make them happen? Either way, stop waiting and start manifesting, but don't use that word if you don't want to. So that magic spell, that casting it, but also that telling people in a practical way, like whether that is manifesting with spirit and saying what it is that you are worthy of and what it is that you want, and like saying that in a spellcasty way, reminding yourself of it and visualizing it, getting that to-do list, or whether it in terms of your intuition of where that's going, adding to that feeling, that momentum of kind of inspiration and creativity, or whether that is in a practical sense, you speaking about your desires, just as you would speak about your fears or the hope of getting out of that space. People may have ways of helping, may be able to help you make that happen. And there is no need to wait for the winds of change to come about in some ways. You already know, you've had that realization within yourself that you want that change, and that you can move on from the situation, or that movement forward. And actually the only things blocking are resentment or not learning from the past. But actually it feels like you have done that, or you want to at least release it. And as soon as you start doing that and start looking towards that hope and start speaking your truth of what it is that you want in so many ways, you start speaking your dreams into existence. And you can call that manifestation, you can call it wishes, you can call it your magic spell, whatever it was. Be specific about what it is. Even if that is as simple as I choose joy every single day, or I am aligning with love. That in itself, with that success, I know that there is no greater goal than to love, is going to start putting that lens, putting that filter on your life. And you're going to find those people that are those candles around in that darkness. Like I was saying, if there is fear and trepidation, and that's not to skip past the fear and the darkness that we've spoken about and that you've gone through. But like I said, with that rock bottom, when we feel rock bottom, when we feel like there's those mountains ahead, we start with, sometimes it's desperation, almost helps move us out of there, because we know we don't want to be in that space any longer, and we're desperate to find like people who have those burning flames that help ignite us, that help switch us up, or we start gathering our strength in order to find that momentum forward. So just know that's even if it's just a small flicker of a candle at the moment, that can move mountains within you. We've also got friendliness. Whenever I smile, I make someone's day better. What a cool way to buy happiness for free. Today I remember what an awesome power I hold, and I'll take joy in improving lives simply by giving away grins like crazy. Note, in a pinch, money will also work. So with that friendliness card as well, like smiling is free. And I know when I get a compliment or when someone smiles at me, wherever it is, you get that initial just pang of someone's friendly. There is a smiling face at me. There is almost that, it's like when a baby smiles at you or chuckles at you, you can't help but almost smile back. It's just instinctive. And there are those fear is and that darkness, it can really feel like it weighs down on you, and you can have that filter and you can have that lens. But trying to find those small moments of joy, no matter how small, those little flickers, even if it's just taking a smile from someone in some way, or you giving something that you can away for free, and making someone's day with it, whether that's paying a compliment, that energy can feel like it switches your track, even just for a moment. And the more that we practice that, the more we feel aligned to it. So that may just be Spirit's way of saying, in a really small way, by reaching out to people, by giving that smile or giving whatever you can, that compliment for free, that may help you feel more aligned to others. We've got courage. No one is fearless, no one. But even though I'm not fearless, I am courageous. When fear shows up, I don't run away from it. I use my courage to conquer it. My courage allows me to walk right up to fear and kick it in the nuts, then quickly hide behind someone bigger until it goes away. So this was kind of like what I was talking about with the paths and destiny and coming up against those monsters. No one is fearless. Everyone has fears. Everyone has anxieties. But you can be courageous in the face of them and not run away from them, because those monsters may keep coming up, or they become bigger in our minds the longer we allow them to live. But your courage and you speaking out and being honest with yourself and seeing what it is, forgiving yourself for giving it the weight that you did, you can kick its ass in a way. And obviously with that, hide behind someone bigger until it goes away. That love, that team of people loving you, but also the love that you have for yourself, your light, also helps dispel that darkness. Like we've said, fear and anxiety can't live where that love is present. And by loving yourself, once you call out what it is that has caused up that fear and anxiety, and loving and forgiving that you had it in the first place and that you have learnt from it, helps you and propels you and helps you move on. So we've got positive thinking. In the garden of my mind, I water the good thoughts and weed out the bad ones. I throw in forgiveness and empathy, seeds by the handful if I want, and I take a lawnmower to that jealousy and resentment patch. I'm a pretty badass mind gardener. So this is really calling to be a cultivator in your life in a lot of ways with that positive thinking card. And we can almost put everything in our minds by having those boundaries up, all those things that people tell us and are fed to us in the flesh, but also the thoughts that come up in our minds of, is this a thought of positivity, or is this a negative thought, or is this something that is going to help me on my plan forward? Is it practical? Is it actually helping me create that to-do list for the future that I see for myself? Or is it a weed? Is it what someone else has said in the past to me that I've allowed to hold weight in the past? Is it from jealousy? Is it from resentment? Is it a block that is stopping the flow of forgiveness and love, and kind of seeing things through that way, weeding out the bad and not giving it the weight in terms of in comparison to the good. And that's the slow, like I said with that friendlies card, the slow switch to joy and trying to find that in the little moments by boosting and giving the microphone to the positive thoughts and weeding out that which you can in terms of those negative it's a slow process, but you can identify them. It becomes easier to identify the negative, the weeds, whether that be external people in your life, like those drains, or and situations too, or whether that's just internally in terms of your mind. So that positive thinking card, I think, really links all of these together, that the positive manifestations of the things that you want, speaking up for what it is that you want, comes from this positive mindset of having that courage and knowing that you are worthy and you have that inner strength to create exactly what it is that you want, and you can change those circumstances. Because this tarot spread, and what Spirit really wants you to know is that hope that you are, even no matter how small that you are feeling, is hope, and it is there, and it is love. And there is so much love ahead of you at the end of this tunnel that you feel like you've been in, and it feels like it's already calling you, that your intuition, that light, is already asking you to push through those shadows, to keep looking towards the future and keep being where you can, telling people about it, allowing it to not hold as much weight, but also know that you have so much internal strength, and your vulnerability is your inner strength at its mightiest. You don't need to be the loudest roaring tiger or lion or anything in order to speak your truth and have your voice heard. That's not strength. Strength is not being able to beat up the bad guy or to beat up the monster. It's having that trust and that faith in yourself to know that you can tackle it. But sometimes you need those people around you in order to do that. And that's knowing yourself and knowing those shadows when you see them. So my glorious friends of pile 2, I'm going to leave this reading here for you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really loved reading your cards today. I hope the advice was useful. I'm sending so much love. I really hope to see you guys again. If you'd like to see me there, please do hit that subscribe button. Until next time, all the best. So much love and light to you. Bye. Hi there, my lovely friends of pile 3. So if you picked the clear quartz pebble, then this reading is going to be for you. So firstly, I've got the oracle cards ready and waiting for you to look at your energy space at the moment, so then I can get that advice from Spirit about what you need to hear. So we have the ring, we have freedom, we have release, we have the one who needs to control, we have make it look like the night, we have a new earth, patience in reverse, we have stimulation, we have why, and we also have masculine. So there are a couple of scenarios which I want to speak through, not all that may resonate with your situation at the moment. I obviously want to keep this general, but if I can go into specifics, if I hear it, I will do that. So on a general note, I feel like there is something with this ring card that maybe you feel tied to. Something from your past, maybe, that you feel like you have this commitment, or you have made a commitment to at one time or another, that transcends that space, the time, and otherworldly things. Something that you feel bound to, which may feel like cyclical in nature, that keeps coming back potentially, but maybe it's a commitment that you want to release and something that you want to move away from. Maybe it ties you to a past version of yourself and you want to be liberated from that. This may not be for everyone, this ring. Maybe for some people it's wanting to make a new commitment to something else, to break out of a cycle. But I want to delve into this first, because one thing that I'm hearing quite strongly is obviously the ring is a sign of eternal love, and we exchange rings when we get married, and that's why the commitment, that deeper level. So for some people, divorce could be something that may be going through, or maybe it's a relationship, something that a kind of a divorce, a break, a separation within a relationship. Maybe there is something that toxic, maybe if it was a toxic relationship, or maybe it's even past, maybe you've already moved away from, but those emotions, it's still something that emotional cup you want to release now. You want to be rid of that energy and be free of it. And maybe this person was quite controlling. Maybe they were someone that had quite a temper from this card, but also maybe there's this feeling of wanting to try and get control back, seize control, be decisive and take action with that masculine, that yang energy. Bring that sun, that clarity to this situation and almost gain your life back, is what I'm hearing, is get that freedom and that liberation out of that cycle, out of that pain maybe that commitment had. And with this, make it look like the Knight. Potentially, this person that needed control, potentially there was this feeling that they plunged you potentially into this darkness, maybe into like that, I said, that toxic environment, potentially, maybe made things seem dark, and maybe you felt really withdrawn, and your light was the thing guiding you. But it feels like this situation, it feels like you're done with it now, with this patience in reverse. You're not, it's literally that there's kind of these questions about why it happened, potentially, why it had to happen to you. Potentially there's that anger and that frustration from that, and maybe that's why there's that need to control. But I think you're fed up with it. You're fed up of talking about it. You're fed up of thinking about it, and maybe even me talking about it is angering you further. But Spirit is saying that it is necessary to look at where you have been at this challenge in order to create a before and after the event. This has been a challenge, a quest for you in order to go through that self-examination and that study to break the cycle of that ring, if that is what you want to do. In a general sense, this may not be linking to the relationship or the divorce. This could just be a situation now, is what I'm talking about in this general sense of, if you feel like you've been on this rung, or maybe you feel like you've been stuck in this ending, or this wanting to end this part of the cycle, and you want to close that circle off in order to start a new beginning, just know that we don't go through finite endings and beginnings, that we are always constantly going through them. The only grand ending that we ever have, and sorry to be morbid about this, is death. That is the only thing, that change of consciousness is the biggest change that we will go through. Everything else in different parts of our lives, our love life, we may be at a beginning, we may be starting something whilst our work life is ending. We are always going through ebbs and flows. We are always going through changes. And this card, especially the ring card, is asking for that connection with yourself and other people and the world at large, and knowing that whatever we are binding ourselves to, whatever we are committing ourselves to in the moment, relationship or a situation, that is as long as we have that ring on, as it were. So if it's something that you want to get out of now, you can release that. You can liberate yourself from it and change that pattern of behavior, break the cycle if that is something, and stimulate something else coming about. Through this stimulation card, this chili card, we've got Aries, the first of our zodiac, new beginnings. And maybe you feel like internally there is something that in that darkness that you potentially felt in that situation or relationship, maybe there was something that called to you, which now you have this activation within your unconscious to be decisive and take action towards that, apply that heat to it in a lot of ways. But a new earth is something that I really want to talk about in terms of bringing around a new beginning, a new cycle. And I can understand frustration of maybe the cycle repeating itself, maybe things keep coming back and to haunt you, as it were, or you never really feel completely free from it. Like if you're going through a divorce, for instance, maybe it seems like mountains of endless paperwork that keep tying you, or there's those things that you have to change, like your address. This could be anything, even if you've moved house from a house that you were in, like your new debit card goes to your old address, or something lingering from the past that keeps you tied down to that. And actually, those are the physical things, whereas spiritually you may be somewhere else and you may have already released that situation. So if you feel like you've been thrown back into a cycle in some ways, or back into a past moment, and you're desperate to try and find that control in a lot of ways, and you're asking these questions of why, that thinking has come to you for a reason, that stimulation of your mind. And maybe there is some things to still be learned, to still be gathered from that situation, even if your patience is running very, very thin. And maybe it's time to take action, to really confront it, to see what it is, because you don't want that energy. And maybe it's Spirit's way of saying you don't want this energy to permeate into your new beginning, into your newfound freedom. Maybe there is something that needs to be addressed and closed. And this isn't closure, because closure is frankly quite overrated in a lot of ways. People are like, I need closure in order to move on. And sometimes we're never given closure. Sometimes we're never given that light to other people's actions or a situation. Sometimes we will never wrap our mind around why something happened, or why something happened the way it did, why someone said something, why they did it. And we can talk about it for hours and hours. And sometimes we will never get that closure. The only closure we can bring and the only honesty we can expect is from ourselves, that forgiveness from the self, that you are ready to forgive the past, whether you get that sorry yourself, or whether you were the one that needed to say sorry and you give it to yourself and you accept it. And that's really what that quest is, in order to close that chapter, to learn from it, to create that before the event and after the event, and see it for what it is. You have got to accept it with honesty and learning and move on. And it's with this infinity sign in that tie as well, and obviously the ring being linked to infinity as well. We are constantly going through karmic cycles in a way, and this is this kind of idea of the Wheel of Fortunes. We'll always have those ebbs and flow in life. We paradoxically need the toxic, the darkness, the fear, the anxiety, and the loss, that feeling, in order to have hope, in order to have love, in order to feel aligned with abundance and wealth and freedom and all of those things. So if you feel like your patience is wearing thin, just know that it's stimulating this new start, it's stimulating this new beginning. And there is a reason that you feel so passionate or angry about something. Every emotion is a key to that why. Every emotion is our telltale sign. If you feel angry about a situation, it's because that resentment is maybe still being harbored within you. Maybe you still fully haven't released it. And with that forgiveness of yourself and the other person, that's when you can start to relinquish that need for control. If you still feel like you are wrapped up in this situation, you feel you are still in this darkness, in this night, then your internal voice, your unconscious, that untapped potential within you, that inner knowing, that wisdom, you may be drawing closer to in that feeling of being on your own. And know that your light, your intuition, that guiding, that voice which you are connecting to, that you will still always and will have everything inside you. You've got all the resources you need there, and you can tap into its potential and unleash it at any time. So with that, darkness brings forward your light, and you can nurture that and bring it to the forefront in order to have that freedom and liberation eventually. So wherever you feel like you are, with this A New Earth, it's happening, keep holding the vision. You may not be able to see it in your reality at the moment in time. You may not feel like it's all there at the moment, and that's frustrating and annoying, but keep being decisive, keep taking that action, and keep holding that vision of where you are going, of that new beginning for yourself. With A New Earth, this is a completely, like I said, a different cycle, whether that's, and that is literally from releasing the old, releasing what doesn't serve you anymore, not allowing any more of your energy to be expended onto that situation if it is leaving you in emotional stagnation. If it is not fulfilling you anymore and you don't feel like you can rekindle it, then what's the point of pouring more of your love and your dedication towards that thing, that situation? Instead, it's time to weed out, to cultivate something new, to cultivate that love, that self-love. Even if you feel in that stagnant position and it's still winter and things are still frozen over and you can't see those effects, keep being with yourself, keep listening to your heart, keep knowing what it is that you need to release so that you can then pick up the new, so that you can feel free and unburdened. And those whys, that question of why, that is that hermit energy, if anything like I've seen it, and that make it look like the night, blocking out those external pressures and those external worries, and being patient with yourself. If you can't be patient with the world around you, if you feel like your time is up with that, like, take that time that you can be with yourself and ask you those why questions, and know that you have those answers within you. Your intuition, that internal voice telling you all the advice that you need, is already there. And I feel like that's what Spirit is saying, that maybe you feel like you need to take action. Maybe you feel like you need to be decisive because you can't be patient anymore. But don't be rash. Be gentle with yourself first and foremostly. And you are where you're going in a lot of ways. All of your experiences are not going to rule you. They are actually going to help benefit you on your movement forward. And the more you realize that, and the more you realize that this is just an obstacle, a diversion in a lot of ways, in order to your highest good, into your path, into that feeling of harmony and freedom, that helps stimulate your mind in a lot of ways. And if you feel like this isn't you, this need for control, or maybe you do feel like you need to get the control, but if you feel like it's an external person that is almost been like crushing, that pain, that, or a situation that brings up so much anger, you get that inside out, that rage, that feeling of anger taking the wheel at the moment. Like I said, every emotion has a place. We need to feel everything, and our emotions perk up, that all, everything within us, whether that be sadness, anger, happiness, joy, because there is something to confront there. There is something to look at. So if you keep feeling like you have released it, but it keeps cropping up, maybe it's time to ask yourself why. Sit with that emotion, listen to it, And if you can't have patience with what's happening externally, above all, have that patience with yourself and say, why have you come up again? Why am I angry about this? Why has this triggered me? Because there may be something that hasn't been healed, that on this foundational level is important to look at before you set your sights on that new earth, that new beginning, so that when you take that leap and that new phase and that beginning by storm, you are completely liberated from the past. You have all that toxic energy out of your system, and all you're left is with your learning, all that you have learned from that experience. So I want to get you some cards, some tarot cards, and also some oracle cards with more information that you need to hear from spirit. So I've picked your tarot intuitively, and you guys have got the Ethereal Visions tarot deck. So let's just do a little bit of shuffling for you guys, firstly and foremostly. But I know I know me mentioning divorce and that situation specifically may not have resonated with everyone, but it's taking what resonates and leaving what doesn't, as always, and knowing, like, if that's not what you're going through, but there feels like there needs to be an ending to one phase of a relationship or a situation, that's not abandoning it, but it's still looking at what connects and realizing the cycle, and stopping the repetition of it happening again by, like we were saying, calling it out, by addressing it so that you can learn from it before it becomes an even bigger issue or something else that needs to be confronted. So we have the Four of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Cups, the Five of Cups. We have the Queen of Pentacles. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Two of Cups as well. And then we'll get some oracle cards too. So we have Surrender. I can release my need to control. We have Courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. We have Love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. And also Honesty. I can't always expect truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So that's super interesting, that honesty, because obviously I was saying in your external world, sometimes you may be confronted with situations with that why of why has this happened, and maybe you can't always get that clarification or that closure, like we were saying, that truth from other people of why something happened, but you can seek it from yourself, that honesty and that acceptance. And with this Surrender card, I can release my need to control. That sits perfectly with the cards that we had of the one that needs to control, and that release, that toxic release card, in the fact that you can surrender that control if you feel like that, or the control that feels like it's in your life underpinning you. You can release those situations, that feeling of needing to hold on tightly to something, to a particular phase or to a lesson, if it doesn't feel right as well. If it's bringing up those emotions of anger, and maybe that's something is why that cycle, maybe that's why it feels like a living nightmare of something that keeps repeating itself, or an emotion that keeps coming up, if that anger or control does, or that sadness, if that is it. If those things are continuing, then holding on and not releasing it and keeping that weighing over your heart, mind and body, that is not going to allow for the surrendering and bringing in new life. If you are keeping hold so tightly and almost creating a prison around yourself in a lot of ways. And with the Nine of Swords, the unknown and the things outside of and that new phase and that beginning that I was talking about can bring up so much fear and anxiety, and because we don't know what's coming. We can't see it. We don't know necessarily that shadow, but with that courage, with that finding that inner strength to face those fears, to confront them, to confront that pattern of behavior of why something is happening, and knowing that your vulnerability in this situation is strength first and foremost. And actually, love at the end of the day, that committing to the practice of seeing the good in all things, seeing the good in every situation, even in a situation as frustrating as what you may have been through, that anger, that need to control someone else, by accepting it, not necessarily understanding it, by loving yourself for getting yourself through that situation, and knowing that the one thing about you that you can always depend on is that you will get through it, is what I'm hearing from Spirit, is that you can commit to the practice of loving yourself and seeing the good in yourself, that no matter what a situation brought up for you, even if you're impatient, even if you needed to control it, even if you were angry, even if you harbored resentment for a long time, or whatever it is, you can find the courage to move away from those fears, those anxieties, those emotions. And they were all valid at one time because they've helped you learn. They've helped you to commit to a new practice of love and seeing that. And with that Five of Cups energy, the loss and pleasure, if you have suffered that, the grief that this thing emotionally with this Nine of Swords, that kind of living nightmare that you have been in, that cycle, those emotions are all valid. And I feel like you're going through that feeling stage at the moment, but all of those experiences have led you to this moment of being this great nurturer. Maybe you don't feel like you, in a lot of ways, I'm hearing, maybe you don't feel like you give good advice, or maybe you don't feel like you are a great nurturer, but you are. Because I think you can, above all, nurture yourself and love yourself, but also people do look up to you with that Queen of Pentacles. They do. People do want to be around you, do want to be around your spirit. And maybe you feel like that's been knocked out of you, is what I'm hearing. Maybe you felt like you used to give good advice. Maybe you feel like you used to be able to nurture people, and maybe you feel like you've lost a passion for it in some way, or something like that. Or maybe you don't feel like you can at the moment because of the situation you've been in. This may only be for a couple of people, but that loss of pleasure, that cycle that you felt trapped in, that energy, those emotions that came up, that grief, it's not a step-by-step program. It is a scale that you go through. You can be in acceptance, you can be in denial, you can be in bargaining. And I know you've got those questions of why, but you can ask those questions of yourself. Instead of reflecting that externally, know that there is power into asking and being courageous and holding yourself for accountability and being honest with yourself, because your internal compass will always tell you, will always. And maybe that's through meditation. And no matter what comes up, accept it. Surrender to those feelings, allow them to wash over you, and know that it may take time, but above all else, you're doing it for the love of yourself, for the love of getting yourself out of this situation, out of this cycle, and you're learning from it. Everyone is learning. Everyone is human. Everybody makes mistakes, or everyone gets pulled into situations they'd rather avoid, or go through those really tough lessons which build up around them and may not even be of their own making. Maybe there are fears and anxieties of other people in this Nine of Swords that have been put onto you, that make your life feel like a living nightmare and everything. But you have that ability to release those situations that create a prison around you that you do not want to hold on to anymore. Because if you're holding on to so much, there's only so much someone can hold. If you're holding on to everything and you're at a full capacity of holding it all in, then you can't pick up any new energy. So there needs to be that release in order to take something new. And it feels like with that Queen of Pentacles that, again, you have all those resources inside of you, this deep knowing, this deep intellect, and you are a nurturing, giving person. And also, cast away all those should directives of you should be doing this. Ask yourself what you want. You put other people first. You nurture other people, even if you feel like you can't at this moment in time, or your power feels like it's drained in some way. People do look up to you, but also cast out those shoulds of what you should be doing right now, who you should be looking after, all of those things. Sometimes in life you can't, if you've got children, if there's dependents, that kind of thing. I know you can't drop everything, but what is it that you want? What is it you want from this situation? What idea or what love is coming into your life, and what good is it that you want? What is your, with this 10 of Cups, what is your full heart? What does that look like? What is that emotional connectivity? And know that you are deserving of it. Surrender to that feeling that you are deserving of it and you are worthy. And sorry friends, my phone just died of battery, so it's all plugged in now. But I was speaking about that worthiness feeling, and having that courage and that inner strength to know that you are deserving of it. That courage within yourself, that feeling of self-worth, that it doesn't matter what fears and anxieties are around you, is that actually love dispels that fear and casts that darkness aside. And also with that 10 of Cups, that kind of full heart, it doesn't happen overnight. We learn from those experiences that we've gone through. We learn from that pain, from that grief, that loss, those feelings. And that is 10 in terms of our cup suit. We have to go through that journey. And it's finding those initial Ace of Cups moments, those opportunities for emotional beginnings or things that call us for that heart that we can drink deeply from. But also with this 2 of Cups down here, it feels like there may start to be the initial attraction to new things, new people, new ideas, new situations that bring healing and reassurance. And with this idea of, it's also the soulmate connection card, that maybe it's connecting to new ideas or new things that are your life's highest purpose, and looking at it through that lens of possibility and abundance. What is that full heart going to look at? And almost starting now, starting to cultivate that now, because things, like I said, don't have that finite end. We're always going to be going through those emotions with those 5 of Cups, but we can release those that don't and invite in these new beginnings, this new energy, in order to try and get closer to that 10 of Cups, that love. And by practicing that, seeing the good, trying to see the hope in those situations of loss, or finding, even if it's the small courage, that small flicker of yourself in that darkness, and surrendering to that love and seeing that good, that is when we can honestly say what it is that we want and speak that truth into existence through that 10 of Cups. Even if it starts small with just that initial attraction to something or someone. So I want to get some affirmators as well for you of what else you need to hear. So pile 3 Spirit, what else? We've got the manifestation card, which actually came up for another pile as well. What else do they need to hear? Okay, And we've got 2 on the floor as well. And I see penguins. Oh my gosh, penguins. I love penguins if you haven't seen my other videos. But also it really speaks to me about the soulmate card, because I've got a tarot deck called the Orion's Tarot, which is 2 penguins on the 2 of Cups, which I spoke about on my tarot Instagram page. And it was all about, obviously when penguins they do a commitment, it's kind of commitment through pebbles. They give each other pebbles, and it's kind of like giving a ring, and they've just got this connectivity, and I love them because they're formidable, that they move through these obstacles and also pick that love, that no matter, it's like in Happy Feet, no matter what storms come, no matter if they drop the egg, anything like that, they are tied to one another and they see through situations. But also there's that sense of tying to yourself and having that that connection and that love for yourself, that throughout any situations, thick or thin, you will get through it. And making almost that commitment to yourself of that you're going to go after those things that you want and know that they all have a place. So anyway, I just saw penguins and I was just like, penguins, woohoo! So let's get back to it, shall we? So manifestation. If you could have anything you wanted, what would it be? Get specific and get greedy. You are holding a magic wand and you can conjure up anything. Could it be that when you declare your wishes out loud, you'll actually be casting a spell for your dreams to come true? Or is it just that, in a very practical sense, the more people you speak with about your desires, the more folks there are who know what you want and might have the means to help you make them happen? Either way, stop waiting and start manifesting, but don't use that word if you don't want to. So with that manifestation card, it feels like it's calling for this 10 of Cups. The things that emotionally you want, the emotions that you want to align to, that love, whatever it is, get greedy about it. And it's that casting away the should directives of what you should be doing, who you should be nurturing, what you should be paying your attention to, and actually just looking at yourself and saying, what do I want from this new cycle? What do I want for my new phase? What do I want to be? And knowing that you can have anything right at this moment by asking it. You can be, do, and have anything you want, and you can start connecting to that energy of that soulmate, that love connection at any time when you practice that good in all things. And manifesting, and even if you don't use that word, even if it's just affirmations to yourself, that is like casting a magic spell, saying you are protected, saying that you have courage, saying that you are aligning with love. All of those things help bolster you, and the more you hear them, or the more you see them being projected back to you from people or things around you, the more you have that confidence in yourself. And also, maybe it's about telling people what your desires are, what your heart's wishes are, and start those things that maybe your internal flame is calling you to, maybe taking action towards those. Start seeing it in your reality, start being those things from love, obviously, and then that helps you attract and makes them almost happen, because you're living them already, trying to live them as fiercely as you can. We've got ideal partnership. I am a rare and precious find, and my brilliance will be reflected back to me when I am paired with a true match. My ideal partnerships and working relationships are easy and free-flowing. I deserve greatness because I am greatness. And to paraphrase Rumi, what I'm looking for is also looking for me. In fact, he or she might be paraphrasing Rumi right now. So I think it's, maybe it's not Rumi, maybe it's Rummy. Sorry, I don't know that reference. Maybe someone can tell me what that reference is. Is it Ratatouille? No, it can't be. Is it? I don't know. Sorry, guys. Little, if someone could let me know if it's supposed to be Rummy or Rumi, who, I don't know. I feel like it could be in Ratatouille. Maybe I'm making that up and I'm completely making a fool of myself. But, you know, fools and wild cards are brilliant as well at the same time. See the world in a different way. Learn to laugh from your mistakes, which obviously I just did. So I'm trying to laugh internally. So with this ideal partnership, it's knowing that you are, again, that worthy feeling, that you are deserving, and those things that are aligning with you, that abundance and the things that are good for you, the greatness is coming and you are deserving of it. And that what you're looking for may also be looking for you right now, and knowing that it is looking for you right now. And your perfect match, whether that be within relationships, maybe for some people it is love, if you do feel like that relationship has tracked for you through this pile. But knowing that no matter what it is that has come from the past, don't allow your fears and anxieties of what happened previously with other people or in other situations to dictate your energy moving forwards. Because you can move past that and know that that happened, accept that, be honest with yourself, surrender to those need to control that situation, and really release it so that you can move forward and learn from those experiences, and know that you are fortified, that you have those boundaries of what you will and won't accept, and your ideal partnership will fit into those. You don't have to compromise those core foundations for anything or anyone. So know that your internal strength is going to set you there and point you in the right direction. We have playfulness. I am a playful participant in life, and I always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. Mary Poppins put sugar in the medicine for a reason. The lady really knows how to party. So playfulness and fun is an easy way to align with love in so many ways, but also seeing life as that quest, as opportunities to learn and love and to see the good in all things, as opposed to the quest, the challenges that may come up on us, and that little bit of sugar and finding that joy, that playfulness, even if it's small things that we can laugh about and take joy in, even in the hard stuff, whether that's one person in a situation, a project that we can find joy with through something that we're going through hard, or whether that's when it comes to love, seeing the funny things and learning to see the playfulness, the curiosity of getting to know someone else, or whatever it is. Just know that you can always kind of make life a party, and it's what sugar that you sprinkle into it, what joy that you sprinkle into all situations, that will help stomach those events much better. That honesty and that love, by seeing the good, trying to see the hope in those situations which may feel lost, and that's where you see life as a party. Life is a roller coaster. So we've got connection, the penguin card, which I've never read before. I'm connected to the multitudes, and I can access their support at any time. Even a stranger offers a sense of comfort when they smile at me or make a dumb comment about the weather. Everyone is waiting to connect. All I need to do is open myself up and pay attention. Note to self, work on witty banter about weather-related stuff. So I love this idea of connection and connectedness, because everyone is waiting to connect with someone or something. That new idea, that new relationship, whatever it is, that new beginning, be open and receptive to it. Pay attention to the new emotional opportunities that may be coming to you, because they may not appear in the package that you expect, especially if you're manifesting. Sometimes things come to us in expected and unexpected ways. Also, those answers to those why questions, if we're asking those questions about why something is coming up for us, why we want something, why our heart is leading us there. If we're not ready for the answer, if we're not open and receptive to receive it in whichever way, we may miss it. I've spoken before about so I ask for signs a lot of the time for spirit, for questions that I may have, and they can come in any shape or form. And my sister decided to do it, and she'll absolutely hate that I've said this if she does watch this pile. But so she asked for a specific sign. She asked for a dolphin, and we were in a shop, and I said to her, I was like, "Oh, Charlie, there's your dolphin." And she was like, "Where?" "No, that's a whale." And I was like, "It's a dolphin." And it was a dolphin. But it's that thing of, she was saying that she was open and connected, but she needed me to point out the sign to her. Like, sometimes you are ready to connect, but sometimes you almost, like, sometimes you aren't open or you aren't paying attention, so as much as you thought that you were. So just make sure you are, and have that sense of playfulness when it does come, that those ideas and those things, and you have that support, you have that support network to help you and connect to those feelings of joy as well. And sometimes when we are authentically true to ourselves as well, and we have those ideas or we have those wants and those desires and we surrender to them, we attract light people to us. Our light attracts more light. And it's like that image of the snowflake, everyone thinking the same thing, even if they're not talking about it. But I also love that connection, that small things, and that links to the playfulness card, about that kind of dumb comment or the smile, and those small things that we can do in our life that sprinkle those joy on. It's like when a baby laughs at you, and I said this for another pile, you can't help but smile back. It's those small things that you can do even for free that help connect you to the good, the playfulness. We've also got follow your heart. I'm always rewarded when I follow my heart. I trust that the GPS in my heart knows all the best routes. And when it seems like it's taking too long to get where I want, I know that's because there's some cool, weird stuff to see along the way. So we've had a lot about patience and taking it too long, but that new Earth card is speaking to me and coming back for me. And your new heart of that, the emotions that you want to align to, where your heart is taking you, that road, even though you may not know where exactly it's going, but you can see it in the horizon, know that even if it takes you long to get there, be dedicated, have that tenacity, that courage to go after it and align with that love at every single moment. And if you keep moving towards love, if you keep following your heart for what it is that you want, and you're honest with yourself and you surrender to it, no matter what comes up, you know that you're always going to feel it, because you can always see it in your mind. If you hold that true, if you hold that desire in front of you, that 10 of Cups moment, and there may be some weird stuff that come along the way, but you can have that playfulness through it, and just know that you are connecting always to ideal partnerships. When you are on that path to love, when you are on that path of following your heart, you connect to people and you manifest even more when you feel aligned. So my glorious friends of pile 3, I'm going to leave that reading there for you today. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm so sorry there was that little break halfway through. It almost made me want to start again, but that's where you see that playfulness and that kind of acceptance, because I definitely would have done when I first started doing this. And it's not because I don't care, it's because that I know that makes me human. And all those situations, all those things that you are going through, you are human, you are learning, you are growing, but you can look at it, be silly. And I also want to know if it's Rumi or Rummy or Rumai or whatever it is. Please let me know. But I really do hope the advice was useful for you guys today. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. It means so much to me. I'd love to hear if it resonated in the comments as well. If you'd like to see me again, please do hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I really hope to see you guys there. Sending so much love. You're all awesome. Bye.